Welcome to Above Par. I'm your host, Kathy Hartwood. I show you how to take more of your talent to the golf course without practicing harder, taking more lessons, or buying new equipment. I show you how to end the frustration of underperforming so you can start playing to your potential. This is where you are going to learn how to think above par so you can play below par. Let's get to it. Hello, my golf friend. Welcome back to Think Above Par. So today I have an excerpt from a live class that I held inside of Your Mental Caddie. It's part of the group that works on the monthly transformations that I host inside of that membership. And I wanted to share an excerpt from it that I talk about the third phase of prepping for a tournament. It's about how you build your toolkit and the process for taking more of your game out into the golf course. So I wanted to share an excerpt with you so that you can hear exactly what I talk about, not only inside of Your Mental Caddie, but how I suggest you take advantage of every single round so that you can learn and build your mental skills round by round. All right. So without further ado, here's an excerpt from a live coaching call inside of Your Mental Caddie. So if you are a person, which I was for a very long time, I'd play a crappy round of golf, I'd throw my clubs in my trunk, and I go home and I try not to think about the round ever again. If I didn't like it, I just go home and I'm like, oh, make it go away. Okay. But I missed an opportunity in there to learn. And so the only time I would really ruminate over a round was if it was a good round. A bad round, I was trying to forget. But I missed opportunities along the way to build up my mental toolkit, because the reasons of that is because I attached too much to that. It was like too painful for me to go back and look at a round that I didn't do so well. I wasn't being neutral about it. It had too much emotional weight. So my point is that it's valuable data collection time for you. And I encourage you more than anything not to miss this step. And so it does not have to be time consuming. The app is to speed it along for you, but a piece of paper works fine. And the first thing that you do is you want to ask yourself 3 questions. And the first thing you always want to do is ask yourself, what went well? Okay, so the reason that you want to make sure that you're asking yourself what went well is because your brain automatically wants to go to the painful things first. You're going to remember the shank. You're going to remember the blow up hole. You're going to remember the 3 putts. You're going to remember what Betty said. You're going to remember that you lost on 18. You're going to remember that it took you 6 hours to play. You're going to remember all those emotional negative things. This is the way our brain is designed, is to first go to the negative things. So you have to deliberately make yourself look for what went well, even when all you want to do is beat yourself up because you had a bad day. This is the thing, is I don't deserve to look at the things that went well. You want to first go there, because you will never go back and look at what went well if you start with what went poorly. Because the minute we do that, then now we just feel crappy, and it's just, we'll find another thing and another thing. So your first step is to always go and look at what went well. Meaning that not that you hit the most amazing 5-iron that you've ever hit in your life and it was beautiful. Those are nice moments. I'm talking about what mentally that you did well on the golf course. That could be somebody bothered you and you stepped away from the ball. It could be that there was a bug on your ball and you stepped away and you knew to do that, and you went through your whole process and your whole routine and you were super proud of that. That went well for you. It could be that you made a 6 and instead of what it normally does is it bothers the heck out of you. This time you were able to rally and pivot and make it neutral. Right? So you want to find as many of those moments as you possibly can after a round of golf. Okay. Some examples: I stayed patient when the group ahead was slow. That was good. Right? Normally that might bother me, but that was pretty good. I used some breathing on the first tee and felt calm or more calm. I didn't let a bad drive on 12 affect my approach shot. So those are wins. And it's super important for you to recognize those wins. And this is why I have a conversation with you all about wins. But when we start, is because when you say them out loud, when you recognize them, when you hear them from other people and you can see yourself in them, then your brain leaves little reminders that, you know what? Okay, actually I did do that. And the next time too that happens, you'll have something to tap into. The things that I want you to avoid is I hit good shots. That's too general. I played well. That doesn't capture anything about your mental aspects or anything. The other thing is that nothing went well is easy for your brain to go to. And I want you to scan. There will be something that you did well out there if you just keep asking your brain a question. One of my pet peeves, and it's not really my pet peeves, it was my coach's pet peeve, and then I adopted it because now I see the value in it, is saying, I don't know. And the reason it's a pet peeve to say, I don't know, anywhere in your life, whether it's on the golf course or not, and I catch myself saying it for sure, is that you turn your computer off when you do that. Your brain's just, okay, you check out. You quit trying. You quit asking your brain to find a solution. You give up when you do that. So anytime you catch yourself saying, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Wherever you say that, if you had to guess, just take a wild guess. What do you think the answer would be? Just that in itself turns your brain back on because now your brain starts scanning. Just think about it. If I said, if you had to guess, now you're like, okay, let me guess. Maybe it's this. And if we're really afraid of coming up with the wrong answer, whether it was right or wrong, what would be your best guess in this situation? Or can you find even something remotely? You're turning your computer back on, meaning your brain. So I want you to look for those things that if you say that, I don't know, or nothing went well today, you just basically turn the lights off. It's not useful. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down those things that went well. And those are going to be part of your history because you get to look back at those and review those and go, okay, I don't totally suck. And I've said this before, I have so many journals that I've written in that, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I used to think when I first started writing in journals, not very long ago, was 6 years ago, maybe, because it was something that I didn't do. And when I got in the habit of doing that, and I look back and I'm like, wow, look how far I actually have come because I have it documented and I've written it down. I would not remember that. I would still see the gap on where I want to go or where I want to be. I would not be looking back and see how far I have come. And so writing down what you did well is a beautiful way for you to see, just as Charlotte brought up too, and the Telly states a lot, is where you've come. Like, that's a beautiful thing to know that this is working and that you are making progress and that things are moving in a good direction. And the other thing for me about doing the journaling is that I could see evidence that what I was doing was working. If your brain can see evidence, oh, I used to have this thought. I started practicing this thought. This is the one I wanted to have. And now I own it. And that other thought feels foreign. Just like I mentioned with Charlotte about that I used to think I would have blow-up holes all the time. That used to be a thought of mine when I was a younger golfer waiting for a blow-up hole. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I even had that thought. Look, I've transitioned so much. I can let thoughts go. I can let beliefs go. I can shift my identity. It is a possibility for me. So this is why I call it building up your toolkit here is so valuable that I wish I did it way earlier in my golf career. Okay, so the next question is, this is where you give permission to your brain to go to the negative things, which it wants to do anyway, is what didn't go so well. What didn't I do so great today? Mentally, not that you flubbed a chip shot. You can do that and just keep track of your stats and your misses, and it might be something for you to work on mechanically, but I want you to go to what didn't go so well mentally. So that would include, I got frustrated with my putting. I rushed the next 3 putts. I rushed to the next tee box after a big number. I let my playing partner, their complaints about the golf course get in my head. That's a thing that happens. That didn't go so well. Now, next thing you're complaining. I started thinking about my score in the back 9 and I got tight and I got fast. The list could be endless, but I want you to think about the things that you didn't go so well. How did the mental part of golf impact you and your performance during that round? You'll find something. Now, unless you had a perfectly amazing mental day, there's always something that didn't go as well as I would have liked. So you want to list those things down, whatever they are. And this is not an opportunity for you to beat yourself up. This is what I want you guys to be clear on. This isn't where I'm crappy. I want you to avoid saying things like, I played terrible. There's nothing of value in that for you to learn from. My swing was off. That could be true, but let's focus on the mental part of things, or dwelling on bad luck or external factors that you can't control. That is not what I want you to do and what didn't go well. Okay. I want it to be about you, things that you can control, and the mental aspects. So, what went well? What didn't go so well? And the third question will be, what will I do differently next time? So, what I want you to do from the list of what didn't go well, so well, and some days you might have just one or two things, and some days you might feel like you have 30 things in there. Look for patterns. It's probably not likely that you really have 30 unique things. You likely have some patterns in there. For instance, I got frustrated after I made a 6 on 2. I got pissed after I made a 4 on 5. I got upset. That's a pattern of being upset with a result. And so then you can start bucketing into a solution for, I get upset with numbers or results on certain holes. So look for patterns if they're in there, because that's going to help tremendously. So then what would I do differently? You're going to pick a mental adjustment you would make. When you ask yourself what you would do differently, you become the solution for your own problem. That's a very empowering place to be. You have tools that I have shared with you on how to do the things and what would work best, but you are your own boss and your own CEO at this moment. So you asking yourself, what would I do differently to benefit me, is super empowering, because now when you know you're the solution, you create so much certainty and confidence about how to manage and pivot on the golf course. You don't feel lost or at the effect of the game of golf. I know how to create and come up with solutions for myself. I've given you so much content inside of all of this coaching and the transformation and school and all the things that I do, that you know how to shift a thought and how a thought creates an emotion and how it creates your results. What do I want to do differently next time? So some examples: when I get a bad lie, I'll remind myself to accept it and pick the best shot available, right? I'm not going to argue with reality. And I'm going to decide what's my next best move. That's what I'm going to do for me. If pace's play is slow, I'll use some extra time to really commit to each shot. I'll do something with my brain. I'll let myself look at the trees. That works for me. When I make a big number, I'll use a reset routine that I have in place before the next tee shot. You've got to take every single round as an opportunity to grow and learn something, so that when you go play in some of these tournament rounds, you're ahead of it. Okay, so you're building up your mental toolkit. You can do this inside the app, so it's there for you to tap into, or if you're going to do it on a piece of paper, keep them all together so you can see them. So when this happens, I do this. These were power phrases that worked for me. That's something else that you can do inside of the app and keep track of, so that you get to go back and tap into those as reminders. The more we see things, the more our brain is going to remember them and connect with them. So it's super useful. And so this is you building up your mental toolkit and you becoming the solution. And that's a super empowering place to be, so that you don't feel like you're as much at the effect of the game of golf. Now, this is the other thing I'm going to say. Golf is a practice. There is no done. There are going to be new situations all the time. And if you can be open to that you're constantly learning more about you, and you're constantly learning more processes or fine tuning them, or finding where you can be more effective, or you tap into more of your talent, it becomes fun. Now, going back, I'm going to talk one more thing about process and I'll let you guys go. So a process, when you play golf, and golf is, to me, just a series of bunch of processes. You're going to have a process before you play. I've given you one. One is a mental prep for the tournament. That's a process. I'm going to do that before every round. And the more you do it, it becomes automatic and it becomes fast. Then you're going to have a way that you warm up. Do it every single time. I'm going to go to the range, and this is what I do. I hit some wedges. I get my tempo going. I build up through my clubs. I hit longer clubs, hit a couple drivers, ends with a couple wedges, go to the short game area, hit the bathroom before I tee off, and I'm ready to go. That's my process. I do that every time. And so all of that creates so much certainty for us. That's the beauty of a process or a system, right? Just like your pre-shot routines. And I want you to start noticing that. And so this is how we build them up. And it doesn't mean you feel like you have a Rolodex of processes you have to go through and pull out an index card and go, what's my process for slow play? It just becomes automatic, because you know what works for you. Not like, what did Kathy say to do for slow play? That's studying. I want you to be the person who says, this is what I like to do for slow play. Who cares what Betty's doing? It does not matter. Who cares what the other person is doing? It does not matter. It's what you're doing. Okay, so we're going to start building processes through building up this mental toolkit that you're going to do after every round, good or bad. All right, my friends, there you have it. Hopefully you learned a little bit about what it takes to prepare for a tournament and what we do after a round. Hopefully you can take some of this information and put it to use right away. And if you want to learn more about the monthly transformations and all of the stages of how to prepare for a tournament or any round of golf, join me in yourmentalcaddie.com. I hope to see you there. All right, my friends, have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.